guys! I am really excited for today's video because I am doing a collab with none other than Jadefairy. I will leave her channel and her half the collab in the description. Jaden's content is awesome and I highly recommend it. When discussing ideas for a collab, our mutual love of the show Miraculous Ladybug came into the conversation. We decided it would be really fun if we drew ourselves as superheroes from that universe. So I will be doing a sketchbook spread and a finished piece. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Let's get started. Actually, it's currently lunchtime. I will probably get started after school. Just trying to eat lunch. On the back of the last page, I did do a few doodles, but I'm mainly going to go with this as my source of inspiration. That is what I'm drawing there, not just the blank page. Alrighty, now on to the actual drawing portion. This is going to be a bit of a challenge for me because I hadn't drawn in like a week or so. Last time I drew was last time I posted. For me, that's kind of a really long time, so I lost a bit of my progress. I mean, I guess it's a good thing that I'm doing a few drawings before I actually do the final drawing. I will try my very best to explain certain things to people who might have not watched the show already. Miraculous are these things, and they come in the forms of various accessories. They can enhance your abilities or give you cool powers when you wear them. Kwamis are these weird spirit creatures that kind of live inside the Miraculous. I never really got them. I decided to try doing a chameleon because I thought that would be cool with the power of shapeshifting. My Miraculous would be a hair clip because I like to wear hair clips. Those were some loose ideas I had. I named the Kwami Cam with 2 M's because, I don't know, they tend to do that. My guess is that they just do that to overcomplicate things. Aside from that, he's your basic everyday chameleon spirit. Not exactly 100% sure what I'm gonna do for the color scheme. And also, the stock image, generic chameleons are portrayed as really rainbowy and colorful, so I guess that leaves it up to my interpretation. I decided to start with a green and purple color combo. In theory, they seemed like they'd work together. I mean, looking back at it, it's not my favorite, but I mean, at the time, I was like, I'm fine, this is great. I may or may not have been trying to convince myself it was good this entire time because I had no other ideas. Just a spoiler alert, I do not end up going with the chameleon idea in the end. I don't know if you saw it in the thumbnail, so just bear with me here a bit. Okay, so I do really like this color scheme. Since I thought I had the Kwami and the Miraculous figured out, I decided to start designing the superhero aspect. Drawing myself was like a once in a blue moon occurrence, aside from the little doodle. Just to give it a start, I drew my face. I will say that sketchbook spreads are 100% not in my wheelhouse. This is only my second official sketchbook spread I've done, and both of them have turned out not so good. I was having a bad art day today, combined with the fact that I didn't feel like putting effort into this because it wasn't the final piece. You know, at this point, I was going in circles, debating if I should even keep this footage in. But I feel like even though this doesn't seem relevant, it was actually a big component of the process I used to try and find what I wanted the final design to be. Here, I'm basically experimenting with different color palettes. Okay, so I kind of really like this color combo, and then maybe with like a touch of red here and there. In fact, actually, despite changing the character in the future, I actually did use those colors, so I guess that's what really motivated me. I'm not exactly quite sure. And again, I'm sorry if my head keeps getting in the way. I haven't found out a setup that would prevent that. I wasn't exactly entirely sure how to incorporate the chameleon aspect into the suit. At the time, I figured, add a bunch of designs and make it work. For the record though, this drawing in particular also wasn't my best work. Alright, this looks a lot like a dinosaur. I am going to try and reconfigure. Alrighty, it is again the next day, and I've actually made a bit of progress on this. I didn't think the chameleon thing was really working, so I decided to do a frog, and I am having much better ideas with that. I think it goes with the color scheme better. I think I have a bit of a better concept for it too. Miraculous is still a hair clip. I just redesigned it a bit. The tones really go with the frog theme, so that's also what I got going for me. Instead of the typical mask, the superhero has goggles. I feel like I just like the look of it better, and you might be asking, hey, does that not cover up the identity at all? Yeah, pretty much. Same goes with all the other costumes though. I mean, it's so obvious. Why can't you see it? Why? Why? Moving on. Like I said, I did get to incorporate the color palette I liked into this design. But I will admit that during math class, maybe I did a quick sketch. but I mean, what can I say? Well, this quick drawing, combined with the one I did in math class, should be a good starting off point for me to start on the final drawing. I mean, despite making like a concept sort of page, I still need to sketch out a few poses, so yeah. It's a superhero, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity to practice a dynamic pose. I'm sure any Marvel fan would know that Spider-Man has these iconic poses, and they're really fluent, so I used that as my main source of inspiration. He also does that frog squat thing. You find my guy? I don't have a very clear vision. I'm still very bad at drawing these sort of poses. So I'm going to attempt to try the final sketch now. Like always, this was no easy feat. You have the muscles and the different segments of the arms and legs, and it's so difficult, but I want to draw dynamic poses so badly. Anyways, this was sort of a trial and error process. I really wanted to choose a pose that could showcase every element of the character. I don't know how human figures work, wasn't sure if I was dislocating an elbow or not, so I wasn't exactly happy with it. I know, big surprise. Numerous attempts off camera, and I have arrived at something that I am somewhat happy with. So I am going to put in the little details. I think that doing it this way is much better because I can, make the character bigger and it actually fits the page a bit better. By the way, a bit more about the hero. Their special power is that they can appear to be another person. That was my chameleon idea. I thought it made more sense with a chameleon, but if you think about it, a frog goes through multiple stages, like you have the tadpole and then the frog itself, so I guess it can take different forms. Despite having reconfigured it to landscape style, I still wanted to film a little gap, so I take care of that later, but for now I have the Kwame right there. Alrighty, things are looking good. So I am going to line this and hopefully not mess it up. I suppose it's worth noting that I did change the character up slightly. They have sort of this clear armor on their knees. And also, just to add a bit of interest, there are some clear sleeves around the original suit, kind of indicating the slime around a frog. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I thought it looked cool, so I added it. To reflect a few more elements of the drawing, I added a clear scarf, also to kind of tie it all together. It does sort of look like the Pokemon Greninja, but I didn't really know that at the time. Time to erase. Surprisingly, for once I actually really liked the line art. I paid a lot of attention to trying to make the lines smooth enough, and I briefly add a background outline. Alrighty, now time to color. For this, there was a lot of back and forth between the swatch pages because I wanted to get the colors exactly right. Like always, I start with a very light base to block in shadows, then I gradually add in shading. The coloring took longer than I'd like to admit. I think it was mainly the hair. I just really wanted to get the blend perfect. I don't think it shows in the end because I think I could have achieved the same result in much less time. The main inspiration for the frog aspect was, I believe, the tree frog. I'm not 100% sure. When coloring the transparent bits, I really kept in mind that some parts would be lighter when the transparent stuff is over it. It was complicated and I'd never really done something like that before, but to anyone wanting to add a really cool element to a drawing, I highly recommend it. I noticed that actually all of the superheroes have really tight spandex costumes. I added a few different elements because I felt like the really tight spandex wouldn't suit the character. No pun intended. I mean, no doubt those sleeves would probably get caught in something, but it looks cool. The coloring process was taking so long, but I knew for sure that in the end it would be worth it. After I was satisfied with the character, I began on the background and the other elements. I chose a nice light blue because I thought it went well. This entire time, I really wanted to add the highlights. I couldn't wait to see how it'd turn out with that. Typically, the highlights would be the last step, but you know how I said the drawing was a bit lacking? Well, to fill up the extra space, I decided to put her backstory, her powers, etc. I sketched out the details, went in with blue, and then wrote down all the important traits. As for the name of the superhero, I decided to name her Surien, which is the Japanese water lily. I am 100% sure I am pronouncing that wrong, so I apologize. I thought the water lily aspect tied it all together. My name is Lily, they're water lily shurikens, and frogs, water lilies, Also, the Kwami's name, Karu, is kind of similar to Kaeru, which is frog in Japanese. And of course, those finishing touches means that this drawing is finally done. Jaden, I am so glad I got to collab with you. Your videos are awesome and you're just such a nice person in general. If you are not already, definitely subscribe to her. I have to clean up all of this. I really hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed making it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! What is it?